Computer. Hey, everybody. Thanks for coming. So, Chris and I are going to be talking today about energy cords and how to create your reality, your dream life, the life you really want to live, not the life you don't want to live, but the life you want to create in this world. Thanks for coming, Chris. Let's talk about all of this amazing stuff.
Wonderful. Thank you for having me, Joanna. I'm very excited. To me, this is such a subject matter and a topic that needs to be talked about today.
Right. So, one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about energy cores today is because they affect people so much and not a lot of people know about them, but once you release them, boy oh boy, your whole life, energy, emotions, everything changes. So when I was first starting to learn about energy healing, I learned about energy cords, and people used to teach, oh, I'm going to call to Archangel Michael. We're going to take this flaming sword and we're just going to like cut it and it's going to be great. And we're going to like rah and cut through things. And what I realized is that whatever energy you cut the cord with is the energy that it's going to come flying back at you and reconnect with. And so I would be all angry and I would be all like, rah, I'm going to do this thing and rah. And so a few things about that. When you cut a cord in anger, um, it will come back to you with that same veracity. But also, you have this like waving cord that's like leaking energy out of it because you've just cut something. So an energy cord is almost like a vein or an artery. And so if you just cut it and you don't deal with it in a very specific way, you're going to be leaking energy. And so is that other person. And the other person is probably going to look for, and you are going to be looking for a place to reconnect it. The way that I do it and finally figured out is that when you see this cord or feel this cord within your energy field, it's like two hands holding on to one another. And so you're holding on, they're holding on. And what you want to do when you focus into it is just kind of unravel the hands. And for me, I sometimes felt guilty or bad because I felt like, well, they need my energy. They need me to help them. They need my information. And so I can't unravel them because they need it. So, what I thought about to do is that, okay, I'm going to give this hand to an angel or a guide so that that angel or guide can go with them with their energy cord and give them everything that they need. So that's a way you can connect that and also to the earth to have them get energy from the earth, or you can connect them straight up to source. And so that way, when you unravel it, they have the ability to tap in to something else that's not you. And so then you don't have to feel guilty or bad or sad or anything. But remember too that you have this end of your energy cord. So you want to take that, let's say it was coming from your heart chakra, you just breathe back into your heart chakra and then give yourself the love that you need and fill in any of the places that might have needed extra energy, but you just want to fill yourself up with that energy once you start releasing that cord. And then go in and ask, okay, what do I need here? And how do I clear out the root cause of why I created that connection? Because sometimes we create these connections um, because of feeling of lack, a feeling of maybe not being good enough. There's a whole lot of reasons why we create these connections. But once we release the root cause, we release that cord, there's usually never like an energetic hook to it anymore because we've released it. Because the Buddhists say attachment leads to pain and suffering. And so I found that that's what they mean. Like this attachment, when it's there, causes us all of these emotions, all of these feelings, all of these like anxious um, feelings. And so once we release it, there's just peace. There's just peace. And so we release the cord, we release any energy that's in the energy field. And once you're clear of all of that, there's just you being in peace. And yeah, I'm monologuing right now, but I would like to hear about your experiences, Chris, about how you feel like before you release cords, and how the people that you do healing with feel before they release cords, and then how do they feel after? What is that? What has been your experience of that?
I absolutely loved what you said, because as much as I do love Michael and his work and Archangel Michael, it is interesting because what you said, because to me, releasing a cord, having a cord is all about understanding and understanding that cord. What did that cord represent in my life? What did it represent in my past life? And a lot of it, as you said, for me, learning about cords was codependency. That's where I truly learned about cords, was having codependent relationships and that feeling of, oh my gosh, if I let go of this cord, there's going to be lack, there's going to be loss in my life, there's going to be fear. But realistically, what I enjoyed that you talked about is letting go of that cord with love and
Mm-hmm.
understanding. And, it reminds me a lot. You and I talk a lot about the Ho'oponopono prayer. And to me, that is I love how releasing a cord in that way, thanking it, understanding it, loving it, letting go. And, going through that process. And then the forgiveness to me is the biggest part of that process that we talk about within that prayer for within healing. And it's forgiveness of self and it's forgiveness of others. And I think, to pull back from one of your great tools of the trade from way back in the day is sending it back with love and consciousness. It reminds me a lot of what you've always said in the past, but we also hear from Ram Dass too, is sending back with that love, that passion, that consciousness, and giving it back. I remember too, one day you told me, gosh, maybe 10, 15 years ago, you said, imagine that person just dancing in the sunshine or dancing in the rain, so happy that you were able to give them their energy back. So to me, yes, going in and chopping that thing with a sword or an axe or whatever it is can be very angry. It's funny, when I used to do that, I could literally feel Michael's sword go right across me. And I felt it ripping away, like
Right.
literally tearing away from me. And it was a painful experience where, to me, I learned to love that energy and understand that energy, understand what it represented in my life. I think so many times that we look at negativity as something bad,
Mm.
where negativity to me is just learning. And it's something to learn from. And I love the two hands letting go, because to me, the two hands open up to give. And
Right.
us as light workers, us as givers, that's what we're put here to do on the earth. And by the way, I use the word giver in a good way. We're here to give love and we're here to give light to others. And to me, giving that energy back is a beautiful thing. It doesn't need to be a painful experience. It needs to be something that is truly filled with beauty, love, and light, and to be able to return that to someone so they could be once again in their love and light. Because I think as we talk about ourselves a lot, we have to realize how much they're being drained too,
Right.
because they don't have it. But I've seen it a lot within relationships. And to me, I think if we look at things differently from a source of understanding, learning, love, and light, we can return energy. And then once again, we return to our energy, to our immaculate state, as I like to look at it as.
Right. And I mean, yeah, we can do whatever we want. We can do stuff in anger, and we can do stuff in love, and we can do stuff in frustration, and we could do stuff in love, forgiveness, and acceptance. We get to choose, but where do you really want to live?
And I think that's funny, because that's where we're going to get to. And that's the fun part of today. As much as we're going to look at looking at those chords, to me, there's a conclusion after those chords, and it's building the greatest life ever and building what you want to do. And we'll wait to get there in a minute. I like to jump the gun at times, but
I
we'll
know,
wait to get
right?
there. Because it's so
ADHD.
much fun when you release that energy and you go back to yourself. I love working. It's funny, as much as working with Michael, I love Raphael. Raphael is just one of the greatest healers out there, and been one of the greatest healers. To me, it's interesting. Back to like you were asking earlier about healing, and I was telling you, God, a few weeks ago about doing this healing, and we're literally trying to get this cord out. And
Mm.
I was literally trying everything and everything and everything. And my partner in crime, she looked over and she just literally started pulling it. And she was working with the cord and holding onto the cord and understanding everything that the cord represented. And it's funny because it almost really reminds me of those two hands. But it would build with just love watching that cord unravel and working. And then getting to that point, I'm like, oh my goodness, it was like delivering a new life. And that's what we saw. And when we're able to get that cord away from this person and remove the energy from it,
Right.
literally just saw this person's eyes light up and just so happy. And interestingly enough, to see how that cord reattached, and we had a wonderful discussion because to me, when you're doing healing and working with people, it's so important to have that discussion because healing to me is twofold.
Mhm.
Yes, we're helping the people do the work, but two, we want them to do the work. So we discussed that with her and talked about how do you protect your energy, but then how do you return your energy and work with that. So to me, that's all important for the greater success of the person that you're doing the work with.
Yeah, and it's like energetic house cleaning, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes people are so overwhelmed. Like we come onto the planet with like this blank canvas, and then, we get like, here's something that happened, here's someone else's energy, here's their emotions, here's this, and we can absorb stuff from other people, or we can inherit it maybe from our parents, or we see a TV show or movies, or if you're watching the news, or noose like we say around here. It just kills you. um when we take on all of these thoughts, feelings, and ideas and emotions from others, um we get anxious and we get frustrated and we get all of these things, and it overwhelms us. But once we can clear all of that out and feel the peace that happens when it's just us in there, like it's nobody else, it's nobody's thoughts, it's nobody else's feelings, emotions, what are we supposed to be upset about? It's just peace. It's
Right.
just peace. When we can get there, then it's easier to see when this other like piece comes in and we're like, wait a minute, what's this? Like, this isn't me. This isn't peaceful. So if I'm feeling something that's not peaceful, it must mean that there's an energy that's not mine, then I need to like release from my field. And so it makes it a little easier for people to see that. Just like if you get your house cleaned and then someone walks in with like dirty shoes, you're like, what the heck? Like, I just washed the floor. Like, here's this dirty shoes walking into my consciousness. And so that's kind of the way I see it. Like, I think when you go in and do like a house clearing for people, or an energy clearing for their energy field, it makes it a little easy for them to know when there's other stuff coming into their field. Because when you're totally like filled with other people's stuff, you can't tell. It's too hard, like there's too much stuff going on. But once you can clear it and then deal with it one on one, like this thing and this thing and this thing, then you can kind of see, you can see what you have invited into your field.
Mhm. I
Yeah.
think it's interesting too, because a lot of people are like, well, how do I know that I have a cord? And, a lot of people think it's from like a traumatic breakup with their lover or whatever it is. But we've talked a lot about before, Joanna, where it's you have cords going everywhere to every experience in life, every person you met. And it's amazing how much energy you pick up when you're out there, especially to empaths like us. We're picking up energy all the time. We're constantly protecting all the time. To me, it feels chaotic. And it's interesting being diagnosed with an attention deficit disorder along with hyperactivity. People are like, isn't your life always chaotic? I'm like, no, it's not. But to me, it feels very chaotic. Like I run at a very high pace and a very quick speed. I actually become very drained when I sense these chords, sense this energy going on around me. And I also notice my patience is very small. tiny. I don't have patience for a lot of things and a lot of people. And I'm realizing it's truly not me. So, like for me, I feel them a lot in my sacral. That's where a lot of my cords go to. That's where a lot of my energy is stored. It's just who I am and where it stores within me. And I can feel pain in my stomach when I'm picking up so much other energy and other things. Sometimes I laugh and I think it's an entity, but then I realize, no, it's just somebody else's energy, but it literally will bother my stomach. But I notice it in my personality traits. And I notice that my patience gets smaller. I feel chaotic. I feel drained. And I look at it as, all right, it's time to remove all this. And to me, I love doing it. To me, there's so many different ways to release cords. I love Joanna's got one of the best chakra cleansing clearing out there. It's a great way to release that energy is using hers. It's on Insight Timer. It's on YouTube. You can get it on there. I highly recommend it. But what I love about it is it gives me a chance to go into every chakra, get in there. My mentor, the gentleman that I worked with, we talk about it like you get so small and tiny and you get right inside that chakra and you can see the whole chakra and you literally start scooping energy and playing with energy and releasing energy and going in and clearing all that out. It's like Joanna said, cleaning your house, but you're so minuscule and tiny and you're clearing away each chakra. And within that, I can find so much different energy to past experiences. And I think, Joanna, you and I have seen it where a cord was at one time hundreds of miles of long, where it went back to my inner child. And it
Mm,
was this long cord, and it felt like this big. And I've been dragging it over my shoulder for 30, 40, 50 years. And, people are like, oh my gosh, isn't that hard to release? And it's like, no, because I had to understand what it served me in that past.
right.
And I had to thank it. I really had to appreciate it and thank it for what it served me. As I level up, to me, it's every single time you level up, you got to be cleaning house in there, constantly cleaning house because each new level represents a new behavior, a new life, things that aren't going to serve you that did serve you once. And, I always say, don't feel bad about it. It served a purpose in your life. And that's a beautiful thing about growth is something always serves a purpose and you get a new opportunity to grow and learn new things. I'm constantly saying we don't know anything. We're always learning.
It's true. And it's funny about that because sometimes yeah, with my boyfriend, like I'll see the things that he knows and I'm like, damn, like I don't know anything. Like and he's like, I don't know anything either. And so it's like the more you learn, the more you realize that you don't really know
Mhm.
anything at all. Like it's nuts. But how fun? Because if we
Yeah.
knew everything, how boring would that be?
And I think we're constantly relearning. And that to me is like what a chord represents is an opportunity to relearn. And, we get another chance because I think we see everything through. I laugh wearing glasses. I constantly changing my lenses within my glasses every time I move on in life and go different directions. That's a chance to relearn. It's a chance to see things differently. And it's a chance to let go of that cord and to get back to me, my true energy. Because I think in life, that's what every cord represents. Represents a period of time or a situation, a individual. And it's so important to let go of that to truly get back to you. And I think my journey is getting back to true authentic self. So that's what looking at chords, I'm always working on getting back to truly who I am and learning who I truly am. And that's a constant, it's a huge journey and a path to walk.
Right. And like, yeah, who are we? Who are we really?
Right.
Do you know who you are? Like, and
That's where chords can get confusing because all of a sudden you think you're something else or somebody else because you were so drawn into that relationship or that situation. And that chord makes you believe that you are truly that. And it's like, well, the hell with it. That's not it. And
right.
sometimes it takes many years, decades to figure that out, which is cool.
Yeah, and that I guess that also leads us into like who are we and what life do we actually want to live? And the thing is that it seems like yeah, whoever we're with or whoever we're they say that you are a culmination of um the five people that you hang out with the most. And
Hmm.
so uh is it you or is it them? or a culmination of the like a stew of energies of like, who am I?
Gumbo.
I'm a culmination of all of this. And then if you were hanging out in the woods, let's say, like, then you're a culmination of all of that nature energy. And there was such an interesting interview with Bjork, singer.
Mhm.
I don't know what her music is. It's amazing, but in the
Her
80s,
whole genre, it's unexplainable, Bjork. It just
it is unexplainable. But she was from Iceland, and somebody said to her about being alone, like being alone, or not in a relationship or something like that. And she's like, "Oh, I'm never alone. I'm constantly having an orgy with the universe." And I was like, yeah, aren't we all? Like, aren't we all? If we really sit down and think about it, like, we're we have access, and we are a part of, like, there's no spot where God is not, and we're part of that God essence. So we're part of nature, we're part of the earth, we're part of God. We are interacting and having a relationship with everything and everyone around us. We're having a relationship with our house and our driveway and our car and the chair that we're sitting on and the computer, and especially ChatGPT. But we're in this constant motion of never being alone. Like, there's never a time when we're alone in this. And so to think, okay, like, who are we and what do we want to do, is such a focus of taking, okay, who are we? What aspect of life and what aspect of energy do we actually want to channel in? Because we can channel in from the people around us, or nature, or God, or the angels, or whatever. But we get to, from our clear sense of who we are, what this being is, we get to pick and we get to choose. So, where are you choosing to get your energy from? Where are you choosing? Who are you choosing to co create with? Or what? Like, what are you choosing to co create with?
I think
Yeah.
that's it's huge. Who and what? I love those two words. Who and what are you co-creating with? And that's it. I think it's the thing that we look at is we look at creation within our life, and then we look at co-creation within our lives, being plural. And it is fascinating because, you're constantly needing to watch the energy around you and look at where you're pulling in from, where are you drawing from. For me, I look at it as, is it dark? Is it light? And then I look my middle ground, is it beneficial?
Right.
That had another great mentor that I worked with that just recently passed, and he said, every choice I make in life, is it beneficial for me? And then is it beneficial for everyone? And if I
Mm-hmm.
make sure that what I'm doing is beneficial for everyone, I'm making a great choice in life. And it really hit me when he told me that many years ago, about 15, 17 years ago when he said that to me. And I was just like, wow, that's amazing to really think about everything and everybody, every single decision and choice you make. But within that, it made a lot of sense to me.
Right.
But it didn't make sense at first because the energy was chaotic and I wasn't in true authentic self. For me, true authentic self is a place of the heart. I'm constantly looking at how do I merge these thoughts up here with these thoughts down here? And it's a constant. Some days it's like a highway and it works really well. Some days there's detour road construction signs everywhere where I need to remove those road constructions, those detours, those cords, back to that word again, back to those cords, remove it so it becomes that highway from here to here so that I'm understanding authentic self and where do I make the best choices? Where do I align with the best energy? It's interesting within all the numbers that I receive, the angel numbers. I'm constantly being told, stay away from negative situations, negative people. And I get those numbers and I make sure that I analyze exactly where I'm at in life, what's going on, who am I surrounding myself with. And for me, Joanna, it's constantly getting back to nature.
Yeah.
I'm always needing to get back to nature, being grounded to the earth. We do an exercise outside our house. We have a beautiful tree. We love to go barefoot. Our first thing to do is we hug that tree. The
Hmm.
next thing we do is we put our feet on the roots. And we literally go hand in hand around the tree, and we go around the tree and go root to root and keep hugging the tree. And we usually will sage before that, sage after that, or Palo Santo when we really need that boost. But we realize it helps us ground to the earth.
Right.
And there's a lot of chaos going on in the world out there right now, and a lot of negativity too. And we are always finding ways to ground, if it's through meditation, if it's through chakra work, if it's literally getting out there and hugging that tree.
Right.
And it's funny that we realize by hugging that tree, getting back into the frequencies of that earth, we're able to remove all that energy and let it go. And, you said it, I think at the beginning, being purposeful about where you let your energy go to. I thought that was so important. It's important to go back to because you touched on it for a second, but we need to think about where we send that energy back to. And you talked about within the sword, the anger and everything, the frustration. It is important because we just now cut what did you call it? You cut not a, you use the word cord, but you said it's like a vein. So now you think about this vein spewing everywhere. You talked about it, and that energy is going everywhere. And I think back to creation and co-creation. We need to really focus, all of us, on where energy goes and what are we sharing with people out there right now.
Right. And I think in the world there's a lot of weaponized compassion where, we want to do the right thing. We want to do the best thing. We want to be um good people in the world. And sometimes people use our compassion and they want us to be angry and they want us to be frustrated and what that does is it makes us focus on what we don't want. And so I think that when there was a study that was done with people meditating, and so these people, there was like 100 plus meditators, and they went into this inner city where there was a high crime rate. And when they went in to do this meditation, the crime rate dropped like by like 50, 60%. It was nuts. And so when that happened, they realized like the energy of these people who were being peaceful and meditating actually shifted the vibration of that city, that town. And so if we're kept in a state of frustration, of anger, of I don't want this, and we're focused on I don't want this is exactly what I don't want, those people, I hate them because they're doing this and I hate it, like that's using your superpowers for what you don't want. And
Mm-hmm.
so I kind of talk about it like a GPS. Like if you jump into your car and you put into your GPS, well, I don't want to go here and I don't want to go there. I don't want to go here either. Where
Where
you
the
go,
hell do you want to go?
right? Like where the heck are you going? So you have to create the world you want. You have to think about what you want to create. You have to put all of that energy in a loving way, because if you put it in a like angry way, you're going to get there angrily and you're going to get to the angry place. Like, so you
Mhm.
have to like be peaceful, be clear, and say, this is what I want. This is where I want to go. GPS of life, here's where I want to go. And if everyone focused on what they wanted to create, about the world they wanted to create, then we could have heaven on earth. We absolutely could have. But I think that there's people in the world who want us focused on what we don't want because that's what they want to create in the world. They want to create disharmony. They want to create, you know, a world where people don't think that they have superpowers to create the life that they want to live. But
Mhm.
everyone has. That's not just you and me. It's everyone on the planet is a creator, because we are like, again, there's not a spot where God is not. We are all God. We are all a living fractal of God. Like we are a hologram of God. And so, yeah, like Jesus said, you will do all of these things that I do and greater. Like he
Mhm.
said that. He said and greater. So what? We're just going to say, oh, that doesn't really mean, like, okay, Jesus said it. It's true. It's true. So, like, you will do everything that he did and greater. So, what do you want to focus on? What do you want your life to look like? What do you want it to feel like? Like,
Mhm.
what if there's something in the world that you don't like? Okay, that's like, I get that. And what would you rather see? What would you rather see? Would you rather see a world of peace, of people lifting each other up, of harmony, of love? Like, focus on that every day. And it is science, right? They've done the studies. It works. So what are you focusing on right now? What do you want your life to look like? Write it down and focus on it with as much love and intention as possible, and feel what it's like. Feel what it's like to live it. And then it
Mhm.
just creates. It just creates. So what are your thoughts on that, Chris? How do you create your reality?
Every house that I've lived in for the last 15 to 20 years had a sign in it that said, focus on what you do want.
Nice.
When I moved here first, we didn't put that sign up.
Mm.
It actually became, don't doesn't have a place in this home.
Oh,
And
nice.
because we constantly were looking at it with friends, with family, and I kept hearing everybody say it. I don't want, you said it earlier, I don't want this, I don't want that, I don't want this. I'd like, well, what do you want?
Right.
You've told me everything you don't want. I've not heard one thing that you do want. And you and I talked about it, Joanna, a few episodes ago, as I like to call our life is nothing but episodes. 50 years worth of 50 years worth of or 51 years worth of episodes because
Right.
it's about a year apart, Joanna and I.
Right.
51 years of episodes of us together. And it's interesting because we're like, who the heck decided one day just to start using the word don't for everything they want to talk about? And don't doesn't have a place in this home. We don't use the word don't, we don't use the can't, we don't use won't, but we talk about what we do want.
Mm.
And when we focus on that, we get into what you just said earlier, a manifestations phase. We
Right.
are literally feeling it. We are speaking it in present tense. We are sensing it. We are working within that energy, working within that direct alignment. It's powerful. It is extremely powerful to focus and truly enjoy what you do want. There's some days at dance, we end up having dance parties we're so darn excited about and what we do. And I crack up behind me is what we call our dance floor. So this is our
Nice.
dance space where we break out into dance just in excitement and happiness of what we do want. And we focus on that. And this house too, if someone does slip, because boy, it's in our DNA, it's in our chords, it's in everything to want to trigger back to that word don't.
Mhm.
Because we've been doing it, me, 50 some years, we are constantly doing it. And we crack up because we'll be like, I don't, oh no. And we like giggling, laughing. We're like, oh, we used that darn word again. But we learn to have fun with it because
Right.
we represent and we reflect that we have a human side and we have an energetic side, and they're constantly going together. That's its own dance party by itself. But we have those two sides of us, so we giggle about our human side. Or I look and I say, will you allow me to be human for a minute? But it's
Right.
only 1 minute, 30 seconds, because I did waste that 30 seconds of being human and saying things that I don't want or whatever irritates me in that. But a lot of people think it's kind of corny and cheesy. They're like, oh, you just walk around happy all the time and you're just full of love and light, and that's fake. And I always look and I go, is it or is it real? Is that really who you were that first day you were born or before you chose all these lessons in life? And to me, I'm constantly paying attention to it because, when I see universe, I'm a mirror reflection. And that universe is a mirror reflection, and we're a mirror working together. Everything I say, I act upon, and I do, I speak it into existence. So I'm constantly focusing on what I want to work towards, what are my goals. As you said, write it down. There's manifestation lists all over this house. I'm surprised the house is white. Some days I think it should be wallpapered with manifestation lists, but also turning them into affirmations, turning them into your day-to-day life, living it as it is actually happening. And when you cut those cords, go backwards for 1 second, you can do everything that we're speaking about because you are living within true, authentic self, direct alignment with the universe or with God, whatever terminology you choose to use. You're in direct alignment with that. And you are co creating a brand new life. And it's fun because every morning you wake up or every time you take a breath. You can do this. It's not just morning and evening, it's every time you take a breath. I like to think about the moment. You are constantly co-creating in the moment, and you could slip, you could fall down, you could dust yourself back up and get right back up and co-create a new moment. And to me, that's like the greatest gift in life, because I always thought, oh, it's a brand new day, it's a great day. Well, excuse my language, screw that.
Right.
It's a brand new moment. Every time you breathe air in is a new moment for you to co-create. So, I've really worked hard. I used to be a person of extreme negativity, a lot of anger, frustration, and I would hold on to that for weeks, months, years, decades. And I've really been proud of myself. And I think we all need to talk about what we're proud of, because this is back to that creation. What are you proud of? What are you proud of that you're doing? There's some days it only takes me minutes to get through that emotion, seconds to get through that emotion. Sometimes it takes me an hour. And even in an hour, I'm like, damn, I'm doing really good. I got through that in 1 hour today. That would have freaked me out for months, years, whatever, but that's the past. Who cares? Let go of that cord. I
Right.
got through it in 1 hour today, or I'm really good. What do we say? It's 16 seconds if I can release that emotion and get rid of it in 16, 13 seconds. I'm really amazing at it today. And those are our superpowers, as you speak to. Those are what we're getting back to. But the only way we're going to get back to those superpowers and realize them is, what do we want in life? And
Right.
how do we?
Yeah, absolutely. And like it's just about focusing. And you brought up a good point about people are like, oh, spiritual bypassing, or like false positivity, or people spend so much time in their negativity and anger and irritation and frustration and looking for what's wrong. And even within the spiritual community, like people are looking for what's wrong. um
Right.
Even in the like conspiracy of course, the field, everyone's looking for what's wrong, like what's hidden, what's wrong, like. And I think we get caught up in like looking for what's wrong, uh and we don't focus on what's right in our life, like what's going on that I love. Oh my gosh, wow, it's sunny outside, wow, it's warm, it's getting warmer, like people are smiling. And I think way back in the day, before I got into any of this, there was a Tony Robbins, um I think it was an actual cassette tape that I was listening to. And he's like, look, he goes, you can go to a party and you can have a camera and you can focus in on what's wrong, or you can point that camera to another edge of the party and you can focus on people who are having fun and laughing and having a good time. And the world is filled with everything. The world is filled with puppies playing and babies laughing and homeless people and people who are destitute and people who are angry. And you can focus wherever you want to in the world. You don't have to focus on a specific place um, that you don't want to, because you have a choice. You are a superhero and you get to choose. And so I think as we choose on the things that we really want to create in this world and the way that we want to feel, it gives other people the opportunity to choose that. Because I think people don't know that they get to choose, and people don't know that they've been programmed. When I first moved to California, my roommates were running around the living room having a good time, and they're like, "Wee!" And I said to them, okay, guys, like laughing turns to crying, because that is what I had heard growing up, like when you were playing.
I got to interrupt. We've been hearing this for our whole entire lives. This is, by the way, our grandparents that put that on our head.
Yeah,
Yep.
right. And so I just thought, no, that's just what you say. And they stopped and they looked at me and they're like, no, that is not just what you say. Like, I've never
Mhm.
heard that in my life. And that's horrible. That's terrible. And I just never thought about it. I was like, oh no, this is just the way people talk. And so we have to question that. We have to question, like, why am I supposed to be angry right now? Like, why am I supposed to tell people who are having fun and laughing and having a good time, why am I supposed to tell them that they are like the bad thing is going to happen, or the other shoe is going to drop, or and what it does is it's a control mechanism. It's a control mechanism that says you can't just have a peaceful, happy life. You can't just live a life of goodness. Like you have to think of like bad things. And you have to think about all of these things that you don't want, because of course, like that's reality, and that's being an adult, and that's being mature, is about thinking about all these horrible things. It's not. It's not being a creator. I mean, it is being a creator. It's
Right.
creating what you don't want, for sure, because you are constantly creating. But what do you want? What is that reality that you want? And I guess I just want to reiterate, like, you are such a powerful creator. You can create worlds, and a world that is peaceful and loving and generative, and you can create all of this. um but what are you creating? The
Mhm.
life, look around your life. What have you created, and what do you want to create? Yeah.
Mhm. I think it's amazing too. It's getting back to, some people don't like to use the word I. I still use the word I, but who is I? What is I? What do I want to create?
Right.
And to me, that's where it starts off with. Then the greatest thing is you start feeling and finding these like-minded people. And then it gets even more amazing because now it's a new form of co-creation. You get to co-create with them, but it really starts with I. And you
Right.
have to figure yourself out. You got to figure out truly what you want in life and what you want to do. And I think too, within this planet, there's so many, I use the terminology false forms of success.
Mm.
To me, it's important to what truly makes you happy, what makes you successful, what do you want, not what does the rest of the world want you to do, or how much money do you have to make to be this way. Because realistically, I think success in this world, sadly, is focused on money and is focused on it. And we see how it works within economies and everything. That money is always what's successful. But to me, yes, making millions is beautiful, but get back to truly who you are and what you want. And I
Mhm.
hope within everybody out there hearing this, there's something besides money that you want. And what is it that you really want? And money will make your life easier at times, but for money to make your life easier, you have to start off with what you really want. You need to get to that root cause. As we talk about chords, to me, you're like a big tree. You're this big, beautiful tree with these wonderful roots, but you got to get down there and water those roots.
Right.
Get down there, get in the water. You can't just have the raindrops on your branches. You got to get into those roots and truly water them, truly nourish yourself and your soul and what you want. And that's where you find power. We always talk about the roots growing into the ground or the reeds. We love talking about the reeds over in this household. And, having an Irish background, the two of us having Irish backgrounds, the reed is just beautiful. I just bought a new plant the other day, and it's this beautiful grass, this reed, and it reminded me of Ireland and a lot of our ancestry. And looking into that, but even like when we talk about ancestry, we realize within DNA, there's cords going everywhere within DNA, and releasing all those because I think there's so much we fall upon. What do others want us to be?
Right.
What does the world say that truly is successful? And my challenge to everyone always is do what's successful for you, do what feels right for you. And if you're doing it out of the heart and doing what we've been talking about for this last few minutes, there's nothing wrong with this. There's everything right. That's all it is everything is right because it's about you. And if you're doing it from a place of heart, love, light, passion, purpose, morals, all those. But even within morals, you talked about it a minute ago, even within morals, are these truly your morals? Or
Right.
did you inherit those morals? Or did you watch those morals on TV or listen to what did you call the news earlier?
A noose.
News. I gotta go back to that. I'm sorry, I'm stealing that one from you too.
It's programmed.
Where did you pick up those morals and values and what are really yours? And back to what we are talking about with that energetic cleansing, get in there, scoop out all that energy, get back into who you are and what brings you passion, what brings you purpose, and what brings you happiness. I don't think we need to focus more on happiness in our own lives and other lives in this world. Why did happiness become such a term that's way out there that we don't talk about anymore because happiness to me brings everything.
Right. And it's peaceful. I want to go back to what you said like a minute ago, and it was about about the I and about the self. What I realized a long time ago is that there's this saying like treat others um
But do unto others as you would do to yourself. I mean, that's one of the Bible verses. You go
right,
there.
right. And so I think people forget like okay, do unto others as you would do yourself. Here's the thing, in today's world, pretty much a lot of people don't like themselves. And so they're not going to treat other people nice.
Well said.
I'm gonna say that. And I realized this one day. You have to treat yourself the way you want other people to treat you. And this I found was the absolute truth because when I'm not treating myself with love and kindness, other people as a mirror of me treat me like I'm treating myself. So if I forget about myself, if I don't treat myself with love and kindness, if I neglect myself, if I'm ignoring myself and what like my body's trying to tell me, other people will show up in my life that treat me like that.
Yeah. I literally had to walk out of IKEA one day. I was in such a bad mood. And it just like, it was chaotic, this mood and this energy and this emotion that I was feeling.
Uh-huh.
I'm walking through IKEA and I literally watched this little girl smack this little boy across the head. And I'm
Oh,
like, what the heck? And I saw this couple arguing. Then I saw this over here. I literally ran out of IKEA, jumped in my car, drove 25 minutes home, laid right down in that bed. I'm like, what in the hell am I doing to this planet? And what is going on out here?
oh,
Oh my gosh. I went in, started removing cords, started working on my chakras, everything. By the way, I never bought what I wanted in IKEA. I had to go back to IKEA. The next time I went back to IKEA, it was the most beautiful experience because I think we talked about it before. Like, I meet the greatest people when I'm in an awesome mood.
right.
It is amazing when I could go to the store, whatever store it may be. I meet the best people. Oh my gosh, I love having dance parties. Myers, Myers been playing like the coolest music, like disco music from like the 70s and old R&B and stuff that like aisle 7 and 8 and 9 and 10 are dance parties or whatever shopping. People are giggling, laughing. I mean, probably funny to watch a 6'4" bald dude dancing around, having a grand old time. But it really is. It's about bringing fun into this world and having fun. But I come home some days and I'm like, I met the best people on the planet today. They were amazing. They were so much fun. It's funny. My significant other goes, "Are you surprised?" And I love the answer. I'm surprised. It's kind of like it's our fun way of looking at each other and going, duh.
Right.
And then that one day at IKEA, holy hell. I'm like literally yelling. And if there's hell below, we're all gonna go. I'm running out of IKEA like a madman. But it was funny because it's exactly what you said. That IKEA adventure and that Meyer adventure are two different worlds, but it's what I created because I went out into the world with that energy, that emotion, and I brought it out there and I co-created the craziest experience. And the funny thing with IKEA is you got to go way up top to come way down to go way outside. It's a lot
Mhm.
of emotion going in through all those floors to go in, but it is so true. Whatever you bring out, where it's funny how easy it is to hold the door for someone to say, "Can I get that?" Or it's fun being 6'4". Oh, you can't reach that? Can I get that? Everybody laughs about short people issues. We got tall people issues too, but I love being 6'4" because I can reach those shelves and help people and get those items for them. And it just makes their day and makes them smile. And I was cracking up. I remember when they first came out with the registers where you check out by yourself. And I cracked up because I looked at the woman sitting there. I go, I've never had training on this. So if I forget to scan something or something crazy happens, this is not my fault. No one trained me. And I cracked up because I went through with everything. I'm like, what do you hit next? Done. I put the credit card in. And she's looking at me like I'm nuts. And I looked and I go, I did it. I did it. I did it all by myself. And it's funny because Joanna, I've laughed about this before. but you got to celebrate those little self moments, even if you're checked out all by yourself and everybody in the place is staring at you, cracking up, laughing. And it's funny because still till today, I go into grocery stores and I check out and I go, I did it. I did it all by myself. Kind of funny because people are like, these are like 20 years old, Chris. You're still cheering yourself on. I'm like, I am. And I
Right.
will continue to cheer for myself no
Right.
matter where it is because you got to have a good time in life. And that person staring at you checking out is probably bored. Entertain him or her or
Right.
they. Imitate them
Right.
and have fun with them. So,
Yeah. And why would it be okay to like be down on yourself and not celebrate yourself? Like,
right.
got to think about that too. It's like, no, like, of course, we should celebrate our wins. And of course, we should really look back and say, yay, like, I've come a long way. I've done a good job. I'm doing a good job. Good job, me. Good job, me.
I remember when I called you the one day, it was after my divorce, and I never took care of any of the bills or the checking account or anything like that. I remember calling you and going, I did it. I signed up for all these things, Joanna. I balanced my check. I did everything. My budget's ready. I did it all. And it was funny because I don't even know, that was 7 years ago or whatever it was, 7, 8 years ago now. And it was funny because most people are like, well, didn't you know how to do that? How come you don't know how to do that? Well, I was too busy being successful at other things in life. And that was my answer. I'm not going to look at that I did not know how to do that. I never had the experience to do that. In a partnership, in a marriage, or any relationship, people take on different roles. And I think it's really funny because when you think about those roles, it comes back to self.
Mm-hmm.
I within relationships have never had the traditional relationships. I love the cooking. I love the cleaning. We
Mm-hmm.
went to a wedding the other day. I was so excited to iron everybody's clothes. I got to iron everybody's clothes, and my significant other goes, "You're better at ironing. Will you make sure that you can iron this for me?" And to me, that's happiness of
Right.
knowing that everybody in this house is going to look good for that wedding, and I get to take part in helping them look good and feel good. And it's those little things. And I think we really need to break away from those characteristics of males do this, females do this, success is that.
Right.
No, it's all back to you or I, and what we really want in life. And Joanna knows this. I love cleaning. It's my favorite thing to do. And most people, men don't clean. They don't do this. And I crack up because you'll hear from me quicker than you'll hear from anybody in this house. Shoes belong outside. As Joanna said in the beginning of this, leave your energy out there. Don't bring your leave your energy out there. I almost used the don't word. I had to stop myself right there in the middle. Please leave your energy out there and welcome into the fresh energy because I think you have to pay attention to your place of being, your place of living, and really focus on that energy and making sure energy is clear in here. We focus on this. I constantly do. This house is smudged once to twice a week.
Mm.
Crystals, we love crystals. They're everywhere in this house. One of these episodes, we're going to do one on crystals and talk about
Right.
crystals.
I
But there's,
have my etheric weaver.
I love it. That is awesome. Got a magic wand ready to create beautiful energy. But everything is cleansed here. Everything is worked with because it's back to that every moment. And we talked about a co-creation within the home. This home is constantly co-creating. We get some of the best compliments on our house, and I've been getting them since I first came to this house. That energy in here feels amazing. And when this feels out of whack, this energy, I feel out of whack. I mean, it's like running around with bushels of sage, just spreading love and happiness and joy everywhere.
Love it. I remember just when you first moved in and you were like, oh, like I don't know, like it's, I'm afraid to live by myself and I'm not sure. And it didn't take you long at all to be like, oh, I love this. This is mine.
I think the best answer I told you was I went from walking on glass to I love feeling the rug on my bare feet.
Oh,
I'm always barefoot. It doesn't matter in the Chicagoland area if it's 30 below zero or if it's 90 degrees outside. I will keep it warm or cool enough in here that I love being I'm barefoot everywhere that I go. But that was the greatest feeling, and that was the greatest feeling of expression from heart to myself that I could literally feel the rug on my toes because there was many years that I felt like I was walking around on broken glass. And gosh, you go back to that, go back to this discussion. There was cords everywhere in the past. I had to
Right.
learn how to cut those cords. I had to learn how to work through those cords. You know, we didn't talk about, the one thing I love bringing the cords, I love working with violet flames. It's one of my favorite things to do. Joanna knows this, purple is one of my favorite colors. So violet being a form of purple, I love giving those back. Besides giving the energy back to people, there's sometimes that I love working with that violet flame and putting that cord into the violet flame
Mhm.
and then taking that energy and sending it exactly to where it is and where it needs to be, because purple represents a lot in my life. So I like working with the violet flame too, and literally surrounding myself with it, but also surrounding that other person with that
Right.
violet flame and letting them feel true to go back to their self. And then it brings us back to what we're talking to about now, using that violet flame and surrounding yourself with it. To me, it almost forms this barrier that's around you that you could get into this thing and get into true self and work with that energy. And that's one of the things that I work with constantly is that violet flame. I think in the last 10 years, it's been one of my favorite. We talk about methodologies and tools a lot, Joanna and I. That's one of my favorite tools is really working within that violet flame.
Yeah. Yeah. When I'm doing sessions, I'll work with golden white light and violet flame just to get everything in. Sometimes other colors come in, but that's my go-to is just it's like Windex and Mr. Clean or whatever. Energy.
You're not even Greek. Look at you busting out the Windex. But
It's so funny. Like I was like Windex on the third eye. It's
it's interesting. I think it was about I don't know when this fascination started, but it was something with citrine, and I love citrine. Being I think it was about 9 years ago or so, and I got introduced to citrine and manifesting with citrine and everything. And I was really fascinated how, like, when you really dive into something you truly enjoy, like, I love colors. We haven't talked about colors, and I'll get back to citrine in a minute, but a little ADHD moment. I use colors a lot. Like when I'm on a page and I need to get back to that page, my page, me, I use colors. And, I focus on a color that's in this house. Like right now, I'm looking around, there's a lot of blue around me. And so my thought process is in my meditation is every time I see blue today, I'm going to think a happy thought, or I'm going to think an abundance thought, or I'm going to think a joyful thought, whatever it is. Then I'm going to go take that and run with it for the rest of the day and keep working at it. So there's times that I even use colors. And citrine to me, I'm looking at a big chunk of citrine sitting on a table in front of me. But citrine has always been the gift of abundance for me. And it reminds me of abundance. It's one of the greatest manifestation stones that are out there, crystals. And it was interesting how all of a sudden citrine light started coming through all my meditations and started working with it and healing and everything. And to me, it was fascinating when as we talk about colors or we talk about light and that, how much that starts to appear in your life. Why? Because as Joanna said, you co-created this. You are the director of this play that you're sitting on. You are the greatest director and actor. And then you got a million actors out there that you play with. And it's a giant playground out there. So get out there and enjoy. Go to the playground. Such a beautiful place.
right. I love that. So look around your world today and everything that you see that's blue or yellow, like citrine yellow,
Mhm.
think a good thought. Think about what you want to create in your life today. I think that's fabulous. I think we'll end with that. And then because we can go on forever and we've got to have more episodes, we've got to have more of them. I think we should have a whole episode about just talking about colors, frequencies, and vibrations. I think that would be cool. And crystals.
There's so much that I'm excited to share with, and then we want to hear you guys sharing with us too, because it's all about learning. So I appreciate it. Joanna and I decided to do this because we've been doing it for so many years together on the phone, in person. Now we live states apart. We live thousands of miles away. So we just wanted to share this with everyone. And that was really about it. And in return, we want you all to share with us. So thank you. Thank you, Joanna. Thank you, everyone.
Yay. Yeah. And if you have ideas about different episodes that you'd like us to talk about and create, please leave them in the notes below. We would both love to hear what you want to hear about and learn about. And together we are just going to grow and prosper and make this life heaven on earth. I love it. Thank you so much for hanging out today. And we will see you all very soon.
Have a great day.